Teams everywhere are dealing with a serious problem, a productivity problem. Don't worry, HubSpot's customer platform can help. No more time-consuming tasks, no more chasing down prospect info, no more one system for this, another system for that. HubSpot helps you find leads, reach prospects, and deliver the insights to convert them to customers all in one place, making your productivity problem no problem at all. Visit HubSpot.com to learn how they can help you grow better.
Happy Friday. It's April 19th. I'm John Weigell here with Ben Berkley, and this is the Hustle Daily Show. Getting a big old check from a VC firm for your startup isn't nearly as easy as it was in 2021. The proverbial golden age where VCs would throw money at any promising idea is pretty much over. So where is their money going now, and what kind of businesses are getting that sweet, sweet investment bankroll? We'll get to that in a bit, but first let's run down the hits and headlines today in business and tech. Starting us off today, Disneyland received approval from Anaheim, California's City Council to move forward on a $1.9 billion expansion that will include Avatar Land. And I mean, there comes a point here, Ben, where Anaheim residents will just have to say, I live at Disney, won't there?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, you know, as a fellow SoCal resident, I will note that I know how many years this was in the making. So it's, I guess, happy for Disney that they're able to get it past the finish line. I'm especially attuned to like how many jobs is it going to create, how much tourism is going to drive, how many dreams will be made, I suppose we could say. And it's all like theoretically really exciting, but I feel like my head's already spinning imagining the price of a park hopping ticket going forward. Like it's already so much money.
Yeah.
How much more is it going to be?
Yeah, the amount of fathers that have talked to me recently about the pain point of Disney pricing has been a lot. Good news, though, I guess this is going to be in California at Disneyland. Disneyland doesn't get nearly as much love as Disney World, I feel like. So, I mean, that'll be nice at least.
That's so true, except also I got a note, this new park is going to occupy some space that's currently dedicated to parking. And anytime parking spaces go away in our little slice of the world over here in California, it's about the scariest thing in the world to imagine. You know, you kind of think the parking can't get worse, and oh, it sure can. So I'm sure they have a solution in mind that wouldn't be approved if there wasn't, but also yikes.
Yeah, that's a no good. Next, 23andMe CEO Anne Wojcicki may take the company private. It went public in 2021 with a valuation of $3.5 billion, but has earned under $1 a share since late 2023, which means it's lost over 90% of its value. Big yikes. Moving over to music, Taylor Swift's new album called The Tortured Poets Department is out today, and if we could make a big prediction over this, it's going to make a lot of money. To date, 9 Taylor Swift albums have gone multi-platinum, which means over 2 million units sold in the United States. So why not consider this one too? Ben, do you have a similar reaction to this?
Oh, absolutely. I think that, you know, people feel all kinds of ways about Taylor, and that's all fine and good. But from a business lens, just nobody plays the game as well as she does. Like, she's got this perfect hype building machine. She gives her fans just enough, but not too much. And like, it's just so disciplined in the way that information's trickled out. You know, this one was announced at the Grammys in a big moment in February. And then she just kind of like got the perfect draw out of this thing to now a perfect amount of time to like tease it to when it launches. And then she's already ready to obviously maximize her profits when it does go out. Because the thing I noticed with this one, there are several special editions of the album, each with its own specific bonus song. So fans are going to go get all of them, I'm sure.
Oh, they will.
Yeah, and some of those editions are exclusive to Target, who will just assume are cutting her a really nice deal for that. And so, you know, it's just like, you can't commodify your music better.
You really can't.
She's just really, really good. And, you know, it probably pisses some people to see her name in business pages so often, but there's a reason for it.
There is a reason. I mean, we've also talked about on this podcast a ton about the Eras Tour and the economic impact that that's had on a lot of American cities and international cities. Even Singapore, the country, paid Taylor Swift to have her concert, her only Southeast Asian concert in their country, to get the economic boost. So she's clearly doing something right, and it's working for her. And with all the output she's had recently, Midnights came out 2 years ago, and then she's putting out all the Taylor's versions. Oh, yeah. She's raking it in. Probably the biggest mogul in music currently. All right. Next, Colorado is the first U.S. state to legally safeguard citizens' brainwaves. The state's privacy laws now include neural data as a form of protected personal data, requiring consent for use, same as fingerprints and other biometrics. Honestly, thank the Lord. And finally, the Wall Street Journal uncovered Amazon's secret intel gathering operation, selling goods through rival e-commerce platforms like eBay and Walmart to learn about the competition's pricing and their logistics. But Amazon's got some work to do on their spy skills. So, Ben, what mistakes did they make?
Oh, so many. Like, the story is so fun to read. It's just kind of got this bumbling aspect to it.
I mean, the fact that we even know about it
Right.
is a mistake enough.
Not good. They definitely tried to obscure it, but maybe they didn't try hard enough because, first off, the company Amazon is named after the world's biggest river. Well, the alias it went for with this company was just Big River. So not the sneakiest, perhaps. And then there were, some members of the Big River team who identified as Amazon employees on LinkedIn. They also made up a fake Japanese streetwear brand, but they had an address in Seattle listed for it, which is where their HQ is. So definitely some mistakes were made here. I'm sure it's probably a little embarrassing for a lot of people right now, what's going on. And, we don't revel in other people's misery, but also, this is very funny.
Oh, it is very funny. It sounds more like they were making Easter eggs that they wanted people to find out it was them, but it's really, really funny that that's not what that is. They just tried to do spying and clearly, I guess, could not figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, it's like competitive research is a thing. We all know this is a thing. It would be weird if they weren't trying to learn about what their competitors were offering. This just feels like not the way to set that up because it looks really bad when the Wall Street Journal uncovers it.
Mm-hmm. They should have gone out of house with this, maybe hire some spy division. I don't know. All right, on to the main story today. It's all about the venture capital economy. Getting your startup off the ground with a huge venture capital investment is quite a bit harder than it was a few years ago. There just may be some positives here, though. But first, Ben, can you tell us how bad it is right now?
Well, for most founders out there, the VC marketplace has already been pretty bleak, and it's still pretty bleak. So for context, venture capitalists invested nearly $700 billion in startups in 2021. And that number had a huge chunk taken out the next year. Funding dropped to around $460 billion in 2022. And then last year, yet another huge drop down to $285 billion. So since 2021, that's more than $400 billion leaving the table. And that is, of course, just absolutely brutal if you're a founder.
Yeah, that's pretty steep, that drop off. Any news about what's happening in this year so far?
Yeah, so this month we got our first look at how 2024 is tracking, and it's really just more of the same. Q1's global startup funding totaled $66 billion. And I guess if we're going to call that anything, we got to call that good news in that it's pretty flat compared to 2023. And at least that means it's not significantly down yet again. Mm-hmm. So we wanted to take stock of where this was tracking. And I wish for so many of the entrepreneurs in our audience that we were seeing a stronger rebound. Of course, it does depend on which field you're in because some are doing quite well.
Yeah. And talking about field, do you have an idea of what fields were invested in the most in the past few years?
Yeah. So of the dollars that came in last year, 41% of all of them went to three industries, which is biotech, healthcare, and surprise, surprise, AI.
Uh-huh.
And so they're all doing pretty well. There's also a lot more money coming in where, Andreessen Horowitz is like the biggest VC firm. They just raised $7.2 billion. A lot of that is going to AI. Regeneron also just added a $500 million VC fund for biotech. And so, there are just these areas that feels like they'll probably always do really well, no matter how the rest of the scene is faring.
Mm. And In terms of making these deals and in terms of matching companies with potential startups, has there been any improvements there in the past few years, just to keep things positive for a second?
Yeah, I mean, there is a significantly smaller pool of cash to gain access to, but it should theoretically be a lot easier today to get noticed and get conversations going than even, 2-3 years ago. There are all these bigger, well-known platforms like AngelList or WeFunder where that's probably a typical starting point for many founders. But the options are definitely expanding into more niche areas. So I saw a specific one the other day for Latina founders that just launched, for instance. And then there is yet another funding platform that really caught my eye, which is called Cherub.
Well,
so Cherub is very dating app-like. You make a profile, you set your preferences, you kind of just get matched, you review your matches, and then you just strike up a conversation.
Wow.
And so, it feels like the mode of getting more conversations going is definitely evolving in a positive direction. The upshot here is that, if shooting your shot in general is just going to be a less successful thing in this marketplace, there at least need to be more opportunities to get more shots on goal. Mm-hmm. And it seems like we're largely setting up for that right now.
I mean, with the negative news of the funding decreasing over time dramatically, it seems like what has been more so increasing is ways to access at least a meeting or kind of getting in the door at these places and having a conversation. Maybe you won't get the same check that you got cut 3 or 4 years ago, but at least getting something is nice.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, you got to know at this point to expect scrutiny. That was theoretically always going to be the case. I suppose there was a chunk of time there where, you throw something like blockchain gaming in front of an investor and they're going to be like, I don't care what else comes out of your mouth. Here's a big check.
Yeah.
They just kind of had that FOMO thing going pretty hard. And now the market shifted to this higher level of scrutiny again. And so, it's going to be tough sledding for a lot of founders, but it's also not impossible. And there are a lot of ways to get noticed increasingly in this very massively online life that we all lead.
Yeah, definitely. And seeing where the funding is going now as towards AI and biotech, those spheres, is really telling of what we can expect, I feel like, in the next few years economically.
Yeah, I mean, I think you and I were going to just break out the study guides and learn a little bit more about those fields so that we too can become wildly wealthy someday.
Yeah. Oh, and that's what we're all here for, right?
Oh, of course. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, and that's going to do it for us today. Thanks for tuning into the Hustle Daily Show. We're a proud part of the HubSpot Podcast Network. Our editor today is Robert Hartwig, and our executive producer is Darren Clark. We got a ton more tech and business coverage in our newsletter. If you're not subscribed to it, go get yourself signed up at thehustle.co/email, and we'll see you later. Hey everybody, this great new podcast just came out and I can't wait to tell you about it. It's called The Next Wave, AI in the Future of Technology, and it's hosted by Matt Wolf and Nathan Lands. And of course, it's brought to you by the HubSpot Podcast Network, the audio destination for business professionals. You can catch The Next Wave with Matt Wolf and Nathan Lands, who are leading AI creators who are your guiding light in the AI and technology frontier. AI technology is transforming the way we do business, and the media landscape is a bit fragmented, but The Next Wave strives to be the leading podcast on AI technology and how you can apply it to growing your business. You can listen to The Next Wave wherever you get your podcasts.